Hey everybody. I'm Beth Gumnick, Director of Upper School Theater, in case you don't already know that. Kristopher Kennedy must be feeling pretty good right now. Just finishing his college career with honors in English, winning the Tennessee Williams Award for Creative Writing, as well as the English Award, and preparing to start a teaching fellowship at Windward School in the fall. During his time at Sewanee, Kristopher made his mark not only as an honor student and an accomplished writer, but also as an actor, of course, as chaplain for his fraternity, and even through a brief rugby career. Your mom made me say that. Kristopher has been busy since he left Baylor 4 years ago. When Kristopher arrived at Baylor, look at him right now, he was a tiny sixth grader. I mean, itty bitty. But he had the larger than life Kennedy presence. And from the moment that he stepped onto the Baylor's Roddy Theater stage, he became a legend. In his first middle school production, KK played a miniature tyrant of a character who demanded that his presence be known and felt by all the other characters on the stage and everyone in the room. He was talented, he was funny, he was smart, and he was ready to take on life as a Baylor player. Over the next several years, Kristopher grew and grew, and as I got to know him on stage and off, I saw him shine on in so many more ways. During his time at Baylor, Kristopher brought joy and humor, a sense of adventure, and a pretty impressive intellect to each project and challenge and role he took on. He made his mark on this place. KK soaked up everything Baylor had to offer. So it's no surprise that he did the same when he went off to Sewanee, and I'm certain he will do the same as he moves on to his next chapter. I'm excited to hear what KK has to share with you today. Let me assure you that his wisdom far outpaces his age, and I'm looking forward to learning from him today, just as I did while I had the honor to teach him while he was here at Baylor. So seniors, please help me welcome home Kristopher Kennedy.
Thank you, Ms. Gumnick. Good morning. When I was offered the chance to speak to the graduating high school seniors of Baylor, my first response was to panic, sweat profusely, and recall the speakers I relentlessly rolled my eyes at with my friends here. And that was just for the entertaining speakers. The boring ones turned us into brain-dead gelatin zombies with an eternally glazed-over look in our eyes that emanated forth from the very bowels of our souls. But as a natural people pleaser, my second response was, yes, I'd love to come and speak. It'll be an honor. And my third response was, oh no, what have I done? What do I say? And so naturally, my fourth response was to turn to ChatGPT, who told me to say, good morning, seniors of Baylor School. It is an honor to be standing here before you today as an alumnus of this incredible school. It feels like only yesterday that I was sitting here where you are, eagerly anticipating graduation and the next chapter of my life. Let me just say, it does not feel like only yesterday that I was sitting where you are. It feels like there's been a global pandemic that nobody's tired of talking about, a war on the European mainland, the likes of which haven't been seen since World War II, extraordinarily polite presidential election that sparked a good old-fashioned insurrection. For some reason, whenever you ask anyone over 40 how their day is going, they start talking about inflation, which I still don't really know what that means. Tennessee actually beat Alabama in a football game while Nick Saban was still alive. Go Vols, baby. But worst, and perhaps most shockingly of all, Betty White died. Hell froze over, frogs rained from the sky. So much has changed since y'all have started high school that I feel like I should be addressing the class of 2043. But anyways, back to my speech. One of the most important lessons I learned here at Baylor was the value of hard work. Whether it was staying up late to finish a paper or putting in extra hours of practice for a sport or club, I learned that success comes through persistence and dedication. This lesson has served me well in my career, where hard work is often key to advancement and success. So I have no career, but in my years as a full-time student, I've found it true that hard work matters. I spent a lot of my time in college writing, and there's a huge difference between the writer who sets aside 2 hours every day to work and the writer who sits around waiting for a muse or some other form of divine inspiration to tap them on the shoulder and write their novel for them. The procrastinating writer might possess more natural gifts than the disciplined writer, but it's the disciplined one who grows and gets better through the inevitable failure they face. At Baylor, Miss Gumnick would always point out that talent can only take you so far, for nobody wants to work with egotistical pains in the butt who care more about how they're coming across than they do about collaborating with others. People want to work with someone who may be less talented but is kind, considerate, and respectful of other people's time and ideas. Someone who's a true collaborator. Someone who keeps an open mind. Someone who doesn't take shortcuts. Someone who just shows up and tries their best. And if you're in a healthy environment after you graduate that's suited for you, then your best is always going to be good enough, and you shouldn't tolerate anything less than that. In addition to hard work and community, Baylor also prepared me for the challenges and opportunities of the real world by teaching me critical thinking skills. In today's world where information is readily available, but oftentimes unreliable, the ability to think critically and evaluate sources is more important than ever. I've made it this far into an AI-adjacent speech without addressing the elephant in the room, or to be more specific, the elephant-sized fears people have that the ascendancy of artificial intelligence might not only pose an existential threat to human job markets and development, but also human life itself, which is a new cherry on top of our collective existential ice cream that's long existed of questions of mortality, impermanence, and the soul, but in the last 100 years or so has been sprinkled with the particularly sweet prospects of catastrophic climate change and multiplying nuclear weapons that would almost certainly wipe out all life on Earth. But I would urge you, as we stare down this terrifying and weirdly appetizing metaphor, not to despair. A lot of these fears have accelerated in recent months with the growing powers of ChatGPT, which has particularly affected school systems and plagued educators with fears of cheating. It's important to remember, however, that ChatGPT is a large, language-based AI model that does not produce any prose out of nothing, even though it seems as if it is. In fact, ChatGPT is pulling everything it says from other people's stuff. The content has to come from somewhere that already exists, and so it draws from the entire extent of human history, exploiting real people's past labors for its apparently original content. For 3 years, I served on the Baylor Honor Council, and I know that if ChatGPT came before us as a student on trial, we would probably expel it. It essentially plagiarizes everything that exists, and I see a lot of hope in that, because ultimately this exposes AI's inability to be original or creative. If humans stay curious and open-minded, then AI will always be dependent upon the cutting edge of human creation. And Baylor has given you the tools to think with creative honesty and stay ahead of this curve, even as AI gets more and more advanced. So as you leave this place, Try to instill this creative honesty in everything you do. When you have to write a 10-page paper in college, don't try and sound smart or academic. Instead, ask yourself, what do I think about this? How can I say this in the clearest language possible? As a writing center tutor at Sewanee, I spent a lot of my time dispelling myths that students have about trying to sound smart in their writing. Just trust your own unique creative potential and trust your own unique voice. Think about it this way. No one has ever read the same books or watched the same movies or had the same conversations with the same people in the exact order that you've done all these things. Your perspective on everything is as original, valid, profound, and interesting as the first thought ever thunk or anything that Einstein and Shakespeare produced. I remember Baylor as a very competitive environment, and I developed some bad habits here. I felt so overwhelmed by the genius that surrounded me that I tried too hard to elevate my thoughts, and in that process, I distorted them, and I lost track of what I was really thinking about things. Whatever you really think is already a creative and brilliant seed, so trust that and grow it. Whatever thoughts you nurture are going to be an important part of the human conversation going forward in a century saturated with existential ice cream. In conclusion, I want to remind you of the importance of service. Whether it is volunteering at a local charity, mentoring a young person, or simply being kind to someone in need, service is a powerful way to live a meaningful life. Baylor instilled in me a sense of responsibility to give back to my community and make a positive impact in the world. And to you, the graduating class of 2023, go forth with confidence, work hard, support one another, think critically, and serve your communities. I can't wait to see all the amazing things you will accomplish. It's worth noting that ChatGPT urges you to make a positive impact in the world, which might sound familiar to you as it is the school's exact mission statement. It seems significant to me that a computer lacking creativity is able to write that. So as you go through your final days at Baylor as a student, ask yourself, how effective is our mission statement? What might I push the mission statement to be or to mean to me before I go? What's missing from it? What's the heart of the school, and how can I put that into words that no computer can ever touch, much less articulate itself? And on senior trip, ask yourself, what's something I can do that will surprise me? Am I capable of more kindness than I give myself credit for? And what's the relationship between kindness and courage? Stay curious like this and open-minded, and in the coming days, months, and years, you'll unleash your creative potential, and then you can eat that existential ice cream with all its fearful sprinkles, transform them into kindness and confidence through digestion, burp fearlessly, say excuse me politely, and think to yourself, that actually wound up being pretty delicious. Thank you, congratulations, and good luck with all of it.